More than 2 weeks after the Chevron refinery fire in Richmond, there are still questions tonight about what exactly was in that smoke that blanketed much of the East Bay and sent a bunch of people to the hospital. Today, health officials and hazmat reported back to county supervisors. And ABC 7 News reporter Nick Smith, who has been on this story, is live tonight with the very latest. Nick.
Dan, good evening. Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors had a lot of questions for health officials. They want to know exactly what chemicals were released into the air during the Chevron refinery fire and why it took so long to notify those who lived in areas that were ordered to shelter in place. Contra Costa County health officials gave an oral report to the Board of Supervisors and released new numbers.
I have an update for you today in that over 14,000 people now have sought emergency department evaluation.
That's 5,000 more than health officials reported last week, and they say the majority of those seeking treatment had complained of difficulty breathing and eye irritation. Most were treated and released, but 3 were hospitalized.
2 at Children's Hospital and 1 at Kaiser.
Results from air samples collected by Bay Area Air Quality and Contra Costa County Health are expected sometime this week and may provide more detail on what was released into the air. But there were other problems.
We hear from people. We personally experience it.
There was a failure with the county's telephone emergency notification system.
I mean, people, I think, have developed a high expectation that we're going to call them pretty quickly with accurate information.
It took more than 3 hours for the automated warning to contact some of the residents living in areas that were under a shelter-in-place order. Officials blame the problem on a vendor promising a service they could not deliver. CityWatch, the product used to make the emergency calls for Contra Costa County, became delayed when it dialed numbers where there was no answer and no answering machine. The system is programmed to redial that number until someone is reached. That caused a bottleneck effect. Officials say that affected 25% or 20,000 of the calls that went out. Whatever the cause, the result, says Supervisor Gioia, is unacceptable.
So we need to reopen the process, look at vendors, hold them to a high standard, and do a better job than what's been done the last few times.
County service officials say the issue may not be with the vendor, but rather simply the way the phones are designed to work.
There were some issues with this one. There were some issues with our past vendors. There would be issues with our future vendors. It's the nature of that particular warning device. Again, the telephone lines, the landlines.
Now, officials are meeting with the vendors for the county's emergency network system this week. Now, should the county choose to switch providers, it won't cost taxpayers a dime. The oil and chemical industry is responsible for the cost of the emergency network system in Contra Costa County. In Richmond, Nick Smith, ABC 7 News.
Okay, Nick, thank you.